After going from 2-5 to 11-2, Michigan State won't be sneaking up on anybody in year 3 under Mel Tucker. And while I think the Spartans are a deeper, more talented roster than a year ago, I don't see that translating into another double-digit win season. So let's break it down, starting with a fairly non-threatening non-conference schedule that I see the Spartans going 3-0 in. You've got Western Michigan, Akron, Washington. Akron and Washington are breaking in new head coaches. Those shouldn't be much of a threat. Western Michigan, the one fun note there is that Peyton Thorne, Michigan State's starting quarterback, his father, Jeff Thorne, just got hired as the offensive coordinator at Western. But other than that, I don't expect the Spartans to really be challenged in the non-conference. They'll start 3-0. So let's move forward to September 24th. Minnesota comes to Spartan Stadium. And this is a quality team that went 9-4 last year, brings back Tanner Morgan at quarterback, brings back Mo Ibrahim at running back. And the thing that folks have to realize last year, that within that 11-2 seasons, Michigan State went 4-0 in one-score games. And history and all of the data in college football show us that it's not going to happen like that year to year. So I think this is one of those pendulum games, and I think it swings the other way this time. I think Minnesota comes in and wins a close one in East Lansing and puts Michigan State at 3-1 in the Big Ten opener. I see Michigan State bouncing back at Maryland the next week. Not much of a problem there. Tulia Tungavailoa is a capable quarterback, and if Michigan State's secondary isn't improved the way we expect, then maybe that one could be trouble. At this point, I don't think so, though. The following week, Ohio State comes to East Lansing, and that's going to be a problem. It was a bloodbath in Columbus last year. As I mentioned at the top, I think Michigan State has narrowed the gap, but they have not closed the gap. The Buckeyes are still the standard in this league, and I still think they're going to roll in East Lansing. Maybe not as wide of a margin as last year, but I don't think it'll be too close. The next week, when Wisconsin comes to East Lansing, is going to be extremely interesting in how MSU reacts and responds if the Ohio State game does get a little ugly. This is a game that, again, very losable. Could be one of those coin flip games. And for some reason, this is only the third time these two teams have played in the last 10 seasons, which seems like a crime. But I'm going to bet on some of those resilient traits from 2021 coming through again this year. When you look at last year, they got upset by Purdue. They came back the next week. They handled Maryland pretty comfortably. They got blasted by Ohio State. They came back the next week, and they played a really gutsy game to beat Penn State at home. I'm betting on some of those traits showing up again, and they bounce back with a win against Wisconsin. Then a bye week. Then the trip to Michigan, and this is going to hurt some people's feelings, I know, but I do have the Wolverines winning here for the first time against Mel Tucker. He's the first Michigan State coach to start 2-0 in this rivalry, and you better believe that stuck a thorn in the side of some folks in Ann Arbor. They thought they should have won that game in East Lansing last year. They thought they had the better team the way the season played out, and so there's going to be a lot of motivation, a lot of emotions on the line and in play in that game, October 29th in Ann Arbor. I do think the Michigan pulls that one out. Then I have Michigan State ripping off 3 straight wins, getting themselves back right. Illinois, Rutgers, Indiana, all 3 beatable teams, all 3 winnable games. Nobody that on paper should scare the Spartans. No daunting road trips really in there, Illinois being the one away from home. So they'll get themselves back right, get their feet back underneath them. At 8-3 coming into the last game at Penn State. Right now, I'm going with a loss there for Michigan State to finish 8-4. I know Penn State lost a lot of talent, 8 NFL draft picks, but they've also been recruiting as well as anybody in the Big Ten that's not Ohio State. I also have concerns this late in the season about Michigan State's depth, particularly on the offensive line and some other places. Will it hold up? Where will they be health-wise at this stage of the year? I just think a veteran quarterback in Sean Clifford, home atmosphere in Penn State, rivalry game. Give me the Nittany Lions there in a close one, and that would put Michigan State at 8-4 for year 3 under Mel Tucker.